Mark here, again from Universal Asylum. Now look, I just thought that considering my life's probably, over anyway, once I, paint a pink cock and set this piece of shit on fucking fire, that I should probably, whilst I'm, challenging the lunacy of our system, make a video on, I guess, the bitches down south and that's absolutely fucking psychotic bullshit, fucking anti-stalker legislation and my experience with that. Now look, I haven't got pictures of the bitches because, fuck, I'm not even allowed to talk. See, domestic violence is wrong unless you're a government. Relationship abuse is fine if you're a government. If you're a government, you're allowed to threaten to destroy someone's life. I've been threatened by the government if I so much as speak about, so basically, women are allowed to use the police as fucking weapons against men, and then the weapons, the government, the institutionally sanctioned fucking violence is allowed to censor them. I'm not even allowed to talk about it, so I haven't got pictures of the bitches, and I won't be using their real names. And I guess how I came to have a stalker warning in recent months. Now, it's all a pretty long story, the first, and a pretty complicated, unlike, well, I don't know what normal people's lives are like, but mine's pretty fucking complicated. Now, this story dates back, I put up a video, late last year. I guess, there's Kath, the long last love of my fucking life, so to speak, who I lost many years ago. I put a massive video up, late 2019, when I realised that I was, in love with the one who got away. That tells that fucking story. Basically, I lost her in about 2007, and that, losing her became, one of the catalysts for the greatest change in my life. Anyway, she contacted me several years back now, quite early in my unsanctioned research into the therapeutic value of DMT and other forbidden fruit. Maybe 6 months or so into it, she sort of contacted me, and we hadn't had contact for a number of years, and suggested maybe we could catch up for a coffee, and of course for me that was, I had amends I needed to make to her in ways, and also part of me needed to know, whether I'd held her on some kind of pedestal throughout my life or whatever. But anyway, things didn't, life got in the way of things. We were meaning to catch up, and then, I met the other bitch down south, BJ, who I was upfront and honest at the time that I didn't, I was messed up. I had severe post-traumatic stress disorder. I was trying to, that I was trying to treat throughout my experimental research into DMT and whatnot, and and having limited success with that at that stage. I was upfront about the fact that I had unfinished business with Kath. I needed to, and that I intended to catch up with her at some stage, who coincidentally met someone else around about the same time. Life's life. However, I was clear from the very start that I didn't want to be in a relationship. I was happy to be friends, and I basically spent the following years, trying to keep at a healthy distance or get out of a relationship that I never agreed to be in the first place. Now, we were never in a relationship officially. However, I could, and there was a lot of love there. It's very difficult because, I am censoring a lot of what I have to say. There's a lot of very personal stuff, that relationship may have been very unhealthy as far as I'm concerned in many ways, but there was also a lot of love there. And you know, that woman, you know, as much as she did so in all the wrong ways, she did try to help me in ways, you know. Yeah, and there was a lot of love in that friendship, even though it wasn't, you know, it was never right. Anyway, you know, time went past and, you know, late 2019, you know, circumstances led to me going and catching up with Kath, and, you know, I realised, you know, at that stage I didn't even believe in monogamy. I didn't believe in, you know, being in love, or, you know, as being any different to the love that you treat, you know, every human being. You know, I didn't believe in that type of love. And, you know, it was really fucked up. We caught up, and then, like, it took me a few days to notice it, or to realise, and then I realised, fuck, I'm in love, like, with someone that I was too broken to ever fucking be with, you know, like. And I was in the middle of that stage, you know, I'd come, you know, when we caught up, I was in the middle of, like, trying to stand up to, you know, Latino groups and that cunt fucking Rosie. You know, and I was, you know, I don't know where that was going. I was just going to make sure that they never did what they did to me again. You know, and part of me, you know, there was a, yeah, I didn't know that I could ever heal, and I still don't. You know, but there was a stage where I was going to kill myself out the front of Latino groups because I was in too much pain, and you know, then I don't know how to heal anyway. Like, fucking. Then I bumped into Kat, and I realised I was in love, and then it was horrible because I'd broken up with Belinda already, and, like, or there'd been, fuck it, I'm not even, you know, like, you know, I knew even if I couldn't be with, you know, Kath, I didn't, and she had a partner and everything, you know, like, it wasn't, you know, like, what do you do, like, you know, but I knew I had to, like, really put my foot down, and you know, walk away from BJ, like, because it was never, you know, whatever. You know, and then I got, like, you know, I put out this video to the world that's about an hour long, tripping out because I'm all, you know, and I tied that into, you know, the fact that, you know, she fucking was the one who got away and led to all the change. That was part of, most likely part of fucking Rosie's fucking psychotic motives, you know. When Rosie couldn't be the one that got away, what she do? Set me up, torment and abuse me, and fucking run around and pretend. Ooh. You know, like, so I put this video out, and, like, you know, part of me, it was a big part of my story, and relevant to standing up to all of that. I didn't know how to handle any of it, and I didn't, you know, oh God, it must have shattered poor fucking, I don't know, like, it all ended up this horrible mess, and then I got, like, so lovesick, you know, because I just tried to, like, you know, I didn't identify who I was talking about, you know, I just told the story about the one that got away, you know, like, oh, fucking how that fitted in with my train wreck of a fucking life. And then, you know, I got all fucking lovesick, I couldn't even contact her, you know, like, what business do I have, you know, there, you know, she's got a partner and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, then there was, you know, she had issues that I pined for the first time in my life. I literally pined over, you know, it's like, You know, there's a lot of stuff that I can't go into as personal and, you know, relates to other people and stuff, so, you know, then there was fucking fires, and the fires came, it was all like my first experience with being in love, and, you know, like, and there was fucking the fires everywhere, and there's constant fucking threats, and, you know, you know, and then I had to, you know, I got so lovesick, and, you know, one minute I don't believe in love, and then the next minute I'm fucking lovesick, and I got so unwell, like, to the point I couldn't even function, and then I tried to make up, like, I come to the conclusion that I needed to tell her to her face, you know, how I felt, and that, like, you know, like, that I knew, like, understood that I was too broken for anyone to ever love me. Like, I didn't expect that, you know, but I needed her to know, like, I mean, I've been this whore my whole life, you know, like, and, you know, so I made up, like, I tried to make up, like, a beautiful little, like gift package with, like, my tokens of love for her, and, you know, they included, like, some of the most powerful fucking, you know, I just guess trying to bring her knowledge and awareness to some of the most, you know, there was art in there and some jewellery and some, you know, I guess samples of the most powerful or the most valuable items, what I consider the most valuable items on this planet. You know, I tried to make it special, and, you know, probably whilst I was building that up, there was little things that, you know, just built up, like that anxiety and nervousness about how I was going to present it to him. You know, I'd made that mistake, which I'd never made before, because I don't do, like, love and all that sort of shit. You know, I do being a fucking whore. I'm still pretty romantic in ways, but, like, I've never experienced anything quite so intense anyway. You know, I ended up fucking dosing, having a big dose of fucking mescaline, and deciding that I had to go and, you know, I decided, you know, I didn't want to rock up unannounced, and I sort of, part of me was almost going to surprise her, and then I thought, nah, it's too many things could go wrong there, it wasn't really my place. So, you know, after sort of, you know, I guess driving most of the way there and going, nah, it's not the best idea, what I should do is, like, at least call ahead. You know, I called ahead, and she, like, I was just so nervous, and I did, like, and I wasn't in a good, I'd been up all night, I wasn't in a, and, like, I just, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. You know, I made a fucking cunt out of myself, probably, you know, God knows what she thought. You know, I didn't end up even giving her the gifts. You know, I did, you know, I had some stupid song in my head. It was just like, in my head, it was just like, all different things. It was just, yeah, personal things. You know, I just needed to, I needed to tell her to her face. You know, and none of it went to plan at all. And once it started going wrong, and like it just, yeah, it was awful. You know, and then I think she basically, like, spun out and got her fucking brother to come and rescue her, you know what I mean, and then made an excuse saying, oh, that he, you know, he was on his way or something anyway, and, you know, I never got to give her the gift. And, you know, I thought I'd blown it, but I sort of, you know, I ended up leaving, and, you know, we were going to catch up the next day, because I was sort of, I don't know at what point, whether I said, you know, I told her, like, that I had something that I needed to give her, but, you know, we exchanged some messages, and, you know, then something come up for her, and, you know, like, I don't know, like, if I felt like I was being blown off, and I thought I'd blown it, you know, like, and I would have understood that, so I was direct with her, and I said, no, I kind of feel like I'm being blown off, you know, like, if you don't want to talk to me again, just tell me, you know, like, and she was like, no, I'm, like, really sorry, I really do actually, like, whatever's, you know, I can't remember what it was, but she's like, you know, And we sort of, I think there was a couple of, maybe, I don't know, can't remember the order, whether there was a couple of little things, but I questioned it, and you know, she put quite a bit of effort into replying, and no, it's fine, and you know, then I made some stupid, we had a little, made up a little group private and shared a little video with her just because I was so embarrassed about, like, you know, what, rocking up in a shit state and just fucking, you know, and then we caught up in the park and like, you know, had a chat. I just needed to tell her to her face, and I felt like I did a shit little job. I tried to make it beautiful, and you know, I just needed her to know that like, I don't expect her to feel the same. This is, you know. You know, but the most important thing was the friendship, because I, you know, at that stage I was trying to analyse like what love was and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, and the logic, and I had all these reasons why I thought I felt the way, you know, which a lot of them were quite rational. You know, there was stuff that I saw in her that perhaps I was wrong about. I don't know. You know, it was so beautiful when I like, you know, when I've tried to give her the gifts the first time, and a little beautiful little boy was sharing his noodles with me. You know, it was the first time that I'd ever really been clucky for someone, you know, like, I've never, you know, yeah, such a beautiful mum, and, you know, teaching a beautiful little boy to share, and, you know, he's such a joyful little chap, you know. Yeah, so then we caught up in the park, and, you know, I gave her gifts and, you know, whatever, and then that was just before COVID hit. That was like, right, and that was about the same time I did that the day before I went and seen the clairvoyant. I was so scared to see the clairvoyant because I knew I was going to ask things about that I don't know whether it had been good for me or bad. You know, but, you know, so I guess, you know, we sat in the park for probably a couple of hours and played with Little Noodle and fucking, you know, presented my stupid little fucking gifts, you know, like, to me that was my equivalent of fucking, you know, basically, you know, to give her the most valuable things in the world, and, you know, just tell her, look, you know, I'm in love with you, but I get, like, you probably never feel the same, but, you know, what I value is a friendship. But yeah, then COVID hit, you know, we were all mates, and then, like, and I went and seen my kids, went and checked my kids were okay, and fucking, like, it was Valentine's Day, so I made a Valentine's Day card as a mate, you know, like, and I never, like, up until then, I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. You know, partly because I don't believe in marriage and monogamy and relationships are like a patriarchal institution, all of that shit, you know, like, never really believed in it, so I've never really celebrated Valentine's Day, and then, sometimes I've tried with different, you know, try to do something nice at least, but, you know, it hasn't been a big significant thing for me, and then, you know, my closest mate fucking passed away on Valentine's Day as well, and then several years later, my dad's closest mate from when we were children, but my friend's father also passed away on Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day, I don't really, all I celebrate is the killing of Captain Cook Day on Valentine's Day. It's not mine. But yeah, anyway, I made a fucking card and put all this effort in and way overdid it, you know, as mates. You know, I'm a bit new to being like in love with someone, let alone trying to be a mate. No. But anyway, I fucking, you know, we chilled it back to mates and, you know, had some phone calls in between. Then COVID came and, you know, we're getting on pretty well and COVID come, and then I fucking tripped out, fucked off, went to see my kids, and I was sort of, well, I couldn't do lockdown in the city. It wasn't really safe where I'm living, and, you know, I just thought, fuck, I need to see my children. I hadn't seen them in a long time, and then I got stuck in Whyalla, and, you know, part of me was just going to go and camp out the other side of Port Lincoln and try and ride out the fucking COVID out there, and while I'm, you know, off on my travels, and, you know, when I'm sort of camping out, and, you know, in between when I was able to see the kids, I started like writing a letter to fucking Kath, and, you know, then I realised halfway through it, like in my travels, I'm going the wrong fucking way, like, because like the whole reality of what COVID actually was and what was actually happening, like, started setting in. I'm like, fuck, I need to protect her. It took me a while, I didn't know how, and I was trying to offer little, like, different things, and then, you know, fairly normal stuff, and eventually I realised, like, when it looked like half of the fucking, or 30% of the population was going to get wiped out, which was just, it looked like COVID was just going to bowl through, you know, like, and that, you know, I was thinking of full anarchy, you know, complete collapse, you know, where you no longer have medical systems, you no longer have police because we've just lost 30% of the population, everything is fucked, you know, and like, was sort of what I think a lot of us were expecting, you know, 14 months or so ago. Very fucking, very scary. You know, the threat we were faced with, and, you know, I knew, like, the worst thing I could think of, you know, I knew my kids were alright, young, healthy, you know, and various other things. I made sure they were okay, and, you know, then I realised, you know, the most vulnerable person was little fucking Noodle, and, you know, I was worried about, like, the worst thing I could think of was, you know, the woman that I loved losing her kid, you know, like a beautiful little boy, and it didn't matter if she didn't love me, you know, I'd have her back. You know, so I come back, and it was hard because I had this, you know, I was still maintaining friendships with BJ, and, you know, I come back and I was scared about her as well. I didn't want her to die either. So I came back and I made sure there was as much medicine as possible for the most important thing, you know, with little fucking Noodle being like the most important. And then the adults after, you know. So I can spend all my money on making sure, you know, I bought their legal plants, you know, what I bought, you know, I think it was, I came back and you know, I thought if I set up and make sure, you know, like, I've got as much of everything I need and do lockdown at BJ's where, like, we both had the space, and we would have ended up, like, fucking killing each other. It wouldn't have fucking worked. But, you know, like, and she just couldn't really see the potential of how far south that situation with COVID could have gone. We've all been very, very lucky. Here, on this side of the world, I can't speak for how fucking the devastation, and I haven't, you know, it was only those first few months when it was full on that I've lost track of, you know, world news and stuff like that, how devastating it's been elsewhere. So, you know, but even in spite of that, globally, we've been very lucky compared to what it looked like it could have been. But yeah, you know, I started off making sure I had enough stuff to look after BJ, Kath and Noodle, and because I couldn't, you know, if I did lock down on top of my neighbour walking backwards and forwards, we would end up killing each other, you know. So I went to my mum's, you know, and I invested all my stimulus packets in, you know, I made sure I sent a big box of, you know, legal plants that are legal to calf, you know. Or I'd ordered one box for Belinda's, so there was enough at Belinda's. And then you know, that was about $320, and then I bought another box for about 360 or 380 and had that delivered to calves. You know, and they're all plants, they're all legal. It wasn't as if, you know, you're allowed to have them. You're just not allowed to turn them into medicine. You know, however, you know, if 30% of the population, you know, I was imagining where she lived, what I was imagining is there being no fucking hospitals, no resources, you know, no access to anything. All the resources used up, no police, fucking, you know, you got people looting and all of that, sort of, all of those dangers, you know, proper apocalyptic fucking is what looked like it was possible. You know, so I made sure that they had access to, in case of an emergency, she had access to the most powerful medicine on the fucking planet. And, you know, then I bought a box, you know, got a box delivered to my mum's place. So I had enough for a dose each for me and my mum and her partner. You know, basically I spent $1,000, so all the people I love would have access. I don't know whether everyone would have been open to it, but, you know, I made sure we had, you know, yeah, and that's where I spent like the following, I don't know, whether it was 6 weeks studying, hardcore studying, trying to, you know, because I knew what I was suggesting and I knew how hard that would be for a mother to comprehend, a mother of a 4-year-old, you know, to consider giving a child something that she knows nothing about, you know, in a frantic state, you know, potentially, you know, when you've had, you know, she lived in a location where she would have been the last. It wasn't like she was going to get it first, and while the hospitals were still running, by the time they got it, if it wiped through, they would have probably been the last once there was no resources, you know, like, trying to prepare her with what she'd need for that. And as well as the knowledge and stuff, you know, all I could do was try to find the best scientific information that I could, you know. I knew in my heart with my experience, what I'd experienced with, you know, treating viral meningitis, my experience with finding, well, you know, I was aware of other anecdotal evidence, anthropological fucking evidence of it being given to children and stuff like that. You know, I was aware that it didn't have it had been proven safe for administration to humans, that it didn't have an overdose rate or level, all of that type of stuff, but trying to find actual scientific evidence linking that would support its therapeutic value against the virus. I knew it was his best chance, but I wasn't the one who needed to know that. You know, so all I could do was search. So, you know, through cross-referencing his, you know, various conditions with, you know, I guess autoimmune conditions in relation to viruses and DMT and similar substances, I knew that the ayahuasca was the best possibility. However, if I was, going to be placed in a position where I'd have to potentially, give someone advice about potentially administering ayahuasca to a child in an emergency situation, I was going to make sure that I knew, I was very confident with what I already knew. However, basically, I guess it called, such a serious situation called for, extra thoroughness, and through cross-referencing his autoimmune condition with viruses and various substances, that was where how I was able to come across hardcore scientific evidence. The first article was, psychedelics and immunomodulation. I can't remember the rest of the title. But that was my first hardcore, and I was trying to find the most solid science to present her with, whilst really sensitively trying to introduce, the idea that this might be the only chance that, I knew it didn't work great on PTSD. I couldn't think of anything worse than I had to at least make the option open for her. And we had many phone calls whilst I was at my mother's. And she, throughout that stage, she never, once we were getting along quite well, she never picked up the phone when I rang, but she would always call me back, and often we'd have, half hour to 40-minute conversations, which were really beautiful. And I was really quite gentle in trying to introduce the ideas of, and I was scared, because I was scared if she got sick, she'd be too sick to be able to make the medicine. And I was trying to work out what's the best thing to tell her, and then trying to give her the recipe, and trying to say maybe make it up and put it in the freezer just so it's there, just in case. And I was so scared of, that was about the time when they had all the Ruby Princess, and it looked like it was just going to fucking bowl through Australia, and it didn't look, at that stage, it didn't look like we were going to slow it down. I didn't believe we were going to contain it. And, so I'm just, and then I thought, if she gets sick, she's not going to be able to make it. She's not going to be able to read the science once she's sick. She needed to read that first, and I hoped if I was able to get her to read that science, that, and the other thing, I spent half an hour begging her, that if she got COVID-19, I was trying to make her promise me that she would infect me, so I could show her that the medicine worked. And I thought maybe if she read the science and saw it fucking work, then if she got sick, that she would experience it for herself, or be open to experiencing it for herself, which is obviously, as a parent, if I was in that situation, and a long lost ex, who, she was aware. I was very open about my scientific, exploring the therapeutic value of a range of ancient medicines. Everything from iboga, ayahuasca, mescaline, psilocybin, salvia, all those type of things. I was very open about that. It's all over Facebook, has been for years. She was aware that I had this, was looking into all these things that she didn't understand. I was very excited to tell her, because she had a background, as a nurse, so, which all fitted in with my little tokens of love for her, because, because she was a nurse, and, I thought she would be, into shit that heals cunts and fucking, powerful shit, stuff that will change the world, stuff that, if I died, that I would want her to know about this, so sent her all the fucking, I sent her that information. I tried to get her to promise that, and we're getting along well. Oh, that's right. In between, before I went to mum's, sort of, I ended up writing I wrote 3 letters, whilst I was in my frantic frenzy trying to work out ended up going all the way to Port Lincoln, and then turned around and realised I was in the wrong place, and I drove back to Adelaide, and then I tried to I knew I couldn't stay at home. It was maybe if I set up at Blinder's, and then after a couple of days that wasn't going to work. And in the meantime I'd written several letters to Kath. I sent them at different times, but of course the backlog in the fucking mail, I don't think she got them until I was at my mum's. And then she got 3 letters at once. God knows what she thought, what order she read them in. It just would have, I remember her saying, I got all your letters. I don't really know what to say, but I can only offer friendship and that, which was cool. I understood that. I just and that was before, we were getting along really well while I was at mum's, and I thought, because I knew she was bored shitless on lockdown, so I thought, maybe it'd be, and it was weird because I was pursuing, I knew she had a partner, but I was in a way making it clear that, in ways I was advancing on someone else's partner, which is something that I've staunchly not done for many years, but I've never really experienced that level of feeling or whatever for someone. But you know what I mean? I thought, if they, if you bought on lockdown, maybe if she got them one at a time, and just to break the days up, I just thought it was a little bit romantic, and it was stupid. I didn't think, the mail's gonna fuck up, and then they're just gonna bombard her with 3 letters at once. Fucking yeah, great. I'm fucking so good at love. But yeah, she sort of got over that, and then spent the next 6 weeks, and we were speaking a couple of times a week, and at first it was I'd call her weekly, but then I ended up, when I was trying to encourage her to read the science and that, and I was trying to be pretty gentle about it, but sort of trying to encourage her to read the science, because it was potentially life or death, and I'd call her twice a week, and she'd ring back, never answer, but she'd always ring back, and we always have a half-hour conversation or so, a couple of times a week. I think that's pretty, getting along pretty well. And it was always the clairvoyant told me, don't be afraid to be angry with those you love, because it must be done. And I'm I thought, oh fuck. Don't be afraid to be the knight in shining armour and all this shit, she said a lot of good fucking, give me a lot of good advice, but there was things that, under the circumstances, and I couldn't get mad with her. It was have you been looking at the same fucking news? Read the science, read this, and I ended up, every time I get on the phone, I'd ask her again, and she's so beautiful and gentle to talk to, and, I'd never be able to get mad with her and stuff, and eventually I'd come to the conclusion. So it was another dumb fucking idea. I'll write her a letter and get good and mad with her, and tell her off, and basically say, are you watching the same fucking news with morgues overflowing, and read this, I know what I'm suggesting, but basically, there was things I said in that I felt really bad about, and I sent this fucking, basically I told you were the only woman who was ever fit to bear my child, and I fucking did say that, and it's true. but the way it might have come across was really bad. Anyway, I wrote this letter getting good and mad, trying to just tell her, just read it. Like, read it. This could be life or death. At least read it. If you read it and don't take the option. It's just, I wrote this stupid letter and then I sent it. And then, even when I sent it, right up to the moment that I handed it over, I was really unsure about it. And then I fucking sent it, and then, within a couple of days of that, we actually got it under control. COVID went from fucking just rising numbers to somehow, like, it started backing off. And then I found more and more fucking hardcore medical science. And then I realised, hang on, maybe I don't need to convince her. I realised that, obviously it would be better if we could get this clinically tested. And then it started coming, apparent to me. It's like, hang on, normally you can never get permits to test these substances. However, under the conditions of COVID, maybe there's a chance. Maybe they will make a special exception, considering I've got all this hardcore scientific evidence backing up that this acts. Maybe I can have it tested as an antiviral in addition to all of its other fucking potential health benefits, basically to start the process in testing it. But initially, almost marketing it, DMT and other forbidden fruits, as a COVID-19 treatment. So I realised I had the science, enough science to justify that, which I would have never been able to justify based on my own unsanctioned experimental research. A lot of that has given me knowledge and insight. However, I'm unable to, that's led me to my, conclusion that it is a nutrient that is specific to the central nervous system that, provides powerful, generalist, autoimmune fucking responses. However, I finally had the hardcore science, and as the numbers backed down, initially I didn't want to, initially, while it looked like we couldn't contain the virus, it seemed within everyone that I loved's interest to keep my mouth shut, make sure that people I loved had access to it, because all the toilet paper disappeared immediately, but make sure there was the people that mattered most to me had access. And I spent all my money on everyone else, and then I come back and it was, that's what you do. Women and children come first. And I come back, I thought it might be time to get it clinically tested, and I come back, and then I started trying to contact patent attorneys, and I started trying to and trying to figure out a way to get it so I could secure it. And even back then, I was trying to, I was suggesting that this needs to be signed over, basically into a world trust. I've refined a lot of those ideas since, but basically at the time, it's like, this is the most valuable thing. How about whilst all the world's sick, if we've got a treatment for COVID-19 while the world's at their knees, we're the most powerful country in the fucking planet. Let's treat our people. I had an idea for, basically an alternate to a vaccination in basically like an exposure therapy. Which I would have been happy to test on myself. Dose yourself, bring yourself to peak health, expose yourself to the virus, to the live virus, would work on all 40 fucking strains, then use the ayahuasca to treat the virus in treating the virus and developing your own immunity to it, And if you were to, start with the healthier parts of the population, maximise their health, hit them with ayahuasca, maximise their health, hit them with the virus, then hit them with the ayahuasca, might need to repeat the process a couple of times until they're immune, then you've got all that working capital then we can start working out, I guess, the finer intricacies of, how to look after the more vulnerable people, where things might be a little bit more complicated, and developing a little bit of practice wisdom, with the healthy people a little less vulnerable first. They were my ideas in how to, I guess, use ayahuasca to develop a herd immunity. But then if we had the treatment, and that's why I needed to speak to the Prime Minister, after shitloads of red tape, and I had a few conversations back in the city, and everything was going wrong. My fucking van, I couldn't really stay in my house, so I spent quite a bit of time, due to conflict with the neighbours, so I slept in my van quite a bit. And then my fucking windscreen wipers on the van broke, so then I couldn't go anywhere when it was raining, and it just ended up a fucking nightmare. And then I just got caught in red tape, and we had a couple of conversations where I was a bit stressed out, and just trying to, at the lunacy of the system, trying to figure it out, and not knowing who I could trust, and only having, Kath and BJ and Mum, my mum's an accountant. She doesn't know much about the types of stuff that I know about. I just, what I needed was, what I was saying was, because I couldn't fund it, sign all rights and authorities over to me, and I'll sign 51% executive shares over to Universal Asylum as a World Trust. And then I was also doing a similar thing in challenging world governments to do the same. And basically all executive shares of all lands and titles, defence systems, the lot. So basically we could disarm the global population while we were sick. It was basically, and I put a massive video out. Some of that stuff is, I'm trying to work out how to sign it off. Like, really, I was wrong. What I created to get things started, what I was putting forward was more of a hierarchy with, a few people I knew I could trust to build a team to have it tested and stuff like that. And I hadn't really, I didn't have time to go into the one world leaderless system of governance that I was trying to propose. At the time we had COVID. It was a massive threat. So things have kind of, I guess my ideas have developed since then. However, all of that was what was leading up to, like all this stress, and, we were still getting along okay. Then I was trying to protect her because I was scared they were going to steal my ideas, and I was scared of her being interrogated and stuff like that. And, I probably fucking had seen too many, America's fucking, the way America fucking treats people and tortures people to get information out of them and stuff, watched too many movies. But, it was a world fucking crisis, and I was claiming, I didn't expect that I'd be written off as insane. That was the one thing I didn't anticipate. I was more worried about, it getting stolen, or, the people I cared about being interrogated and potentially hurt and stuff. And that's where I decided I'll paint viable COVID-19 treatment. I got my mate to put that on the van, and fucking, I went and got up on top, parked that van in Victoria Square, Adelaide, threw the noose over the thing and put it around my neck, and tied the other end to the belt, and asked to speak to the Prime Minister about a viable COVID-19 treatment. Refused to get down. Spent about over 2 hours on top of the van. They blocked the tram line off for over 2 hours, ended up with the media everywhere, didn't make the news. That was the day after my birthday, the last message, well, it wasn't I got a message from her the day before saying I hope you had a relaxing day and more productive but relaxing day, and I sort of, I thought it was really beautiful, thoughtful, because, she knew I was stressed out. I was stressed out, like, how much red tape, like, you've got a global health crisis and I can't even get a piece of fucking paper signed for the rights to my work. To get a scientist to have a look, to see whether it's worth fucking backing. Absolutely fucking shows how fucked the system is. Now we're about 15 months on. Oh, hang on. A bit over 12 months. This time last year I was in a mental institution where they were interrogating me, as I've described before, and I refused to give them the science that is now all over my website. Anyway. I spent 5 weeks fucking locked up, and I didn't even contact her while I was in there because I didn't want to, I should have known, it's not like anyone was hassling fucking BJ or anything, but I just sort of, then when I got out, I sent her a message, and I'm sort of and what I didn't realise, I sent her a message and saying I was going to, because I had an appointment, I wanted to catch up, and I ended up fucking that up because, I got a couple of replies, just like, I'll be busy tomorrow afternoon, in and out, good luck with your appointment or whatever, and then, I don't know, I fucked up the date of the appointment as well. First I fucked up the time, then I fucked up the date, and then she just stopped opening any of my messages. I tried to play it cool and, I just went hard all by myself trying to fucking repaint the van properly and make it presentable and building a website. And I contacted all the... I didn't need to know. I knew the treatment worked. I did it all for her. Not that I expected her to love me or I don't know what I did for her to hate me enough to just, just stop replying and, I tried to play it cool and not, not contact her too much and leave it a week and then try again and, and it just sent me, and what else was hard, because the whole time, she's never ever answered the phone. She always fucking, would always just, but she would always get back to me. I always thought she was a strong woman who'd be straight enough to just tell me. Thought she was a kind woman, none of it made sense, and I didn't know what I did, and I didn't, turned out, she possibly got that fucking letter that may have come across so badly, possibly 5 weeks later after I sent it, I don't know, but by then, of course, the threat of COVID had just totally died off, so it wasn't even a threat anymore. Fuck knows how that would come across, and then I don't know what, I didn't know whether it was because of what I did, getting on the van and asking to speak to the Prime Minister. I would have understood if she just went Mark, look, you two, I've got my own shit, fuck off. But I space things out pretty respectfully, and but also it's hard because the clairvoyant had told me she'd help me with stuff to do with grief processes and shit like that and my career and they're big massive fucking things, and you know, to make things even worse. And I just went mad not knowing what I did wrong, and I'd sent, you know, I needed to know that I'd asked her. I needed to know that I'd asked her for help with a couple of things, that it was all good for her to say no. I just needed to know that I'd asked, you know, like, and I sent her, you know, like, so I sent her a letter eventually, or I sent her a folder with a letter, and it had all the fucking sites in it, because I didn't understand what I'd done. And I needed to know that I asked her the questions, and I needed, if I died, I needed the one person that I thought would do the right thing with the science to know. You know, this was the one person that I thought I could trust to be able to do like the best thing for everyone that I loved, you know, like, who might be in the position to actually do something good with it. So I sent it. You know, I don't know whether she ever read it or not. Like, it took me lots of effort, and I went through and I tried to highlight the bits, because like, I couldn't expect, like, you know, these are hardcore fucking scientific fucking articles that are pages fucking long, you know, full of all sorts of jargon and shit like that. You know, I went through and I highlighted all the like most important bits, and I put little, you know, captions on what, you know, they were in relation to, you know, wrote her a fucking letter, and you know, sent that, and tried to, you know, just kept trying to keep respectful, I guess, you know, gaps in those communications. You know, I never, you know, it wasn't like I rung her repetitively. I'd try, and then I might try again a week later, you know, and like, I was just so confused, and I couldn't work out what it was, and like, I knew I'd been uncomfortable about the letter, but like, the whole time I was in hospital, and it all faded, like what I'd even written in it, and it was just like, you know, she would have got it weeks later, and then I didn't know like whether it was into the van, I didn't know what I'd done, and like, you know, so then I just kept trying to leave her alone, and, you know, in the meantime, I'm not even allowed to talk about it. I was still, you know, me and BJ was still trying to be friends and stuff. And you know, we're being mates most of the time. Yep, and she tried to help me with a lot of stuff. You know, I might not know how to, I might not know, like BJ's the only one who's really tried. You know, what was the opposite to Rosie Bourne turning everyone against me and screaming in my face how good my dad dying was? What's the opposite to that? Like, Linda's the only person who's really fucking taking the time to understand what happened, or even ask about my fucking dad. All the stuff that I never got to talk about. All the stuff that I never got to process because of all the fucking trauma. Oh, he's obsessed with me. Fuck you, Rosie Bourne, you fucking dog. And of course, this is the last thing I need from them bitches down south when I've had my life destroyed by a victim playing fucking slut. Or cunt, I shouldn't say slut. You know, right. Yeah, so I ended up knocking up fucking BJ. The last time I slept with her. We ended up having an abortion. It was all so horrible. And it went wrong and I wasn't even allowed to talk. I had no one to go because I got fucking no one. No one to talk to, no one about like help. You're gonna lock me up? Why don't you kill me? Why don't you send the police because I'm talking about it to fucking bash me to death? Why don't you shoot me? Why don't you shoot me? Because I talked about it. You can say I'm a stalker. You can shoot me in the fucking head. Huh? And it all was so horrible. And I know that's, I know she'll never recover from that. You know? And I knew that was her choice. And I didn't really have any say in the matter. And it all just ended up fucking awful. It ended up so awful. And then in the meantime, I went mad over those months leading up to that. And in the end, I put a photo of fucking Kath up. A big long, fucking when I read it later, it was like 7 fucking pages when I copied it and printed it. And like, because I've got a fucking iMac, so I don't even have proper, like, word processing stuff. So I wrote it on like Notepad, and it was just trying to trace back confusion, not understanding like what. Well, obviously she fucking hates me and just wants me fucking, like, yeah. But it was confusing. I didn't think she was a cunt. I didn't expect her to have a fucking. You know, so I put out this thing because I needed some fucking support. I needed a friend. You know, partly I put it out there because I just, like, if she couldn't help me, and I just needed to know I fucking asked. And I made it clear I had some big things to fucking ask her, and it was okay if she fucking couldn't, I just needed to know I asked. And, you know, maybe there was enough fucking clues in there that maybe. You know, maybe there was someone else who helped me. And then the second, then I fucking, you know, she ended up fucking blocking me. And I put up, I tried to be discreet with stuff and set it so that, like, so I was trying to juggle like this too, like, trying to, like, fucking not hurt people. And the second one, I thought I'd set it so she couldn't see it. And then fucking, yeah, she saw it, put a big negative, nasty comment, because you've had all this help, and it was like, no, you're helping me in the wrong ways. It's not what I need. And in so many ways she tried. You know, and I don't know. I don't know how to approach the things with my dad. I'm not ready. I know I need support, but I haven't got no one for that. I know it needs to be right. I know it needs to be on my terms, and I need some help with my career. I don't have any experience with that. And I don't respect most people. Most people, you know what they do? I just lie about your references. Just get another lying cunt to lie. I don't lie. I don't know how to get a fucking job. I don't know. I'll probably never get a job. You can say I'm a stalker. I guess, yeah, it's leading back up to this fucking bullshit. Fucking so-called stalking fucking shit. You know, so I wasn't even allowed to talk to my cousin. I wasn't allowed to talk to no one. Anyway, things went really horrible. You know, with the abortion and stuff like that. It was all really traumatic. I hope she's okay. And in some ways I'm so angry, you know, because then what happened? Then, have this horrible abortion. Then when we catch up, you know, she uses apparently Kath contacted BJ. Out of everyone in the fucking world, she contacted the person that I'm trying to walk away from. Real fucking smart. I actually thought she had a fucking brain in her fucking head. If she had some sort of concerns, she could she's met old fucking old cheese a couple of fucking times. Probably 3 times. You know, enough to be comfortable enough to go. If you had any concerns, you could have approached her even. Anyone except for the person, you know, who I was trying to... But of course BJ held that communication as a hostage, and I felt like she was using that to manipulate me, and I'm sure she threw me under the fucking bus with fucking Kath. Of course she fucking did. You know, that was all horrible. And you know, I ended up leaving a lot of... Because things went so horrible and pear-shaped with that. So horrible. We just ended up hurting each other real bad. Like, just emotionally, because I couldn't be there for her. I went to support her and I was meant to be there for her that night. I couldn't even fucking look at her. I want to hold hostage. You knew. I'd said from fucking years earlier, 3 fucking years or more ago, that I had unfinished business there. You know, I'd been honest from the start. I'm too broken. I don't even know if I believe in that shit. Like relationships, that is. And I'm too fucked anyway. I didn't need to be, you know, dragged into an unhealthy relationship. You know, whether that's, you know, I don't want, because it was loving in a lot of ways. We were just not compatible for one another. You know, I feel bad, but it was unhealthy. Perhaps her personality can be healthy with someone that she's more compatible with, I don't know. You know? And there's a lot of stuff I'm not talking about. A lot of stuff that happened, but I'm not. You know? Anyway, I left. There were certain things I left at her place because it wasn't fucking time. We just went for a fucking abortion. She was grieving. There wasn't time to be fucking, you know, arguing over things. You know, and I was so preoccupied with getting rid of all the other shit. I had so much fucking backlog and fucking stress and fucking, you know, yeah. I left some things at her place and just left it until things cooled down. And you know, then I'll, you know, over the weeks I fucking bought a motorbike, and then I fucking nearly crashed it a couple of times and fucking, you know, fast. And I thought, fuck it, well, I locked up the front brakes at fucking about 100 clicks. You know, and I thought, well, up in the hills, just up near fucking Mount Lofty, somewhere up the top. Up near, not Green Hill Road, but coming between Green Hill Road and Crayfors or whatever. It's like a good place to fucking die. You don't really need to be locking your front wheel up there, but you know, I'm just like, if I die, I need to know, so I tried to write a fucking letter. I wrote a letter. Just trying to, you know, I didn't want to give false hope. I broke up with her, acknowledging our incompatibilities and trying to like, just if I died, I needed to know. I just wanted to heal. Yeah, so I sent her a letter, and then a couple of weeks later, you know, and I probably had contacted, you know, that was over, you know, weeks and weeks passed, and, you know, I hadn't contacted Cat fuck all. I think I, you know, didn't for however many weeks, and I sent the fucking, you know, a fucking, like a postcard on my motorbike and fucking, you know, alright. Trying to sort of just say like, if you've read, I need to know if you read my letter, like, because I need to know. I didn't even straight out say why. I'm like, you know, if you've read my letter, you know this, I'm really important. I just need to know that I'll ask it. You know, like, it was just, it's okay if you can't. I need to know that I've asked. Anyone else to ask? Anyway, then I fucking rode off the bike and nearly fucking killed myself. And fucking, you know, I got the ayahuasca back. Well, I had like the 3 doses from what I had from what I ordered when I was up at Mum's. And that helped, it really helped. Absolutely incredible, but then I didn't have any money left, so then I contacted BJ and fucking, well, I got Mum's because she blocked me on Facebook and just, you know, put middle fingers all over everything. Like, I got Mum to send a message and just said, look, can you just contact her and say, look, I've had an accident, that I need someone back from your house. You know, because it was literally fucking all up, probably, I don't know whether it was possibly $2,000 worth of stuff there. Maybe only 1,500. Yeah, I'll say 1,500. Although, yeah, it might have been 18, really. And she just replied and said, tell Mark that I threw it out. No, tell Mark I threw the ayahuasca out months ago. She wouldn't have thrown it out. Fucking throw out $300, $320 worth fucking, nah, couldn't see that at all. And something about like saying not to come, I don't know, to her house or past her house. Like, what? So I went and knocked on her door, she didn't answer. And then I just thought, nah, she's dangerous. So I left that. Fucking, I'm like, you know, then I went, and I tried calling Kath again, it had been ages. She actually had an answering machine this time, which was weird because she never used to. And I fucking, actually that was one thing BJ said, oh, the clairvoyant told me to ring the police, and I was like, why? Why would you ring the police? It's fucking weird. But then, yeah, so I went, I rung like Kath's fucking number, doesn't answer like usual, but I left a message and just said, look, you know, I've had a fucking major accident, like, and it really helped me if, like, you could, you know, if you still got that COVID-19 survival pack, you know, that would really help me. You know, also help if I you know, if you could like, at least tell me whether you read my letter or not. It's okay if you can't help me, you know, like, I just need to know. Like, I don't want to rock up unannounced or anything, like, you know, like, didn't get a reply, and, you know, I might have left a few messages over, like, and I tried, I think I sent her mate a fucking message and shit like that, because I knew, like, you know, unlike what contacting probably the person I could least trust in respect to her anyway, you know, like, I thought, you know, I could trust her bestie, and, you know, I'm very selective with that. I thought, you know, it wasn't a decision I made lightly, you know, I thought about it, and then, yeah, anyway, I contacted her mate and tried to just, yeah, no reply, so I just thought, I've just got to try and catch her. So I went and knocked on her door, and it took me several attempts. I had to make several attempts, trips down south, trying to catch her while she was home. And then, you know, the last time I fucking got there, and I heard her, she just, you know, clocked past, didn't even make any attempt to, you know, be quiet, wasn't, you know, it's just like, I'm home. And that, like, I just don't understand it. Like what? So I've been really respectful in spacing things out. You can't, not once did she ever go, look Mark, I can't deal with this. Yes, I've read your letter, fuck off. Like, you know, fuck off and die. You know, no one wants you to be around anymore. You know, Rosie Bourne made sure that I'm too broken for that. You know, why the fuck would anyone want to be around a traumatised person? You know, not once. Couldn't answer the door and go, here's your belongings, thank you for spending fucking nearly $400. Well, I think it was over 360 or 380. It was like over 80% of my pay, she knew that. Like, thanks, I don't want this. You know, yeah, I read your letter, sorry, I've got my own shit. You know, I've got a little boy and I've got like my own problems and I can't help you. It would have been real easy. Doesn't tell me once. Instead, you know what she did? Instead of answering the door and saying fuck off, she rang the fucking police. Right, and then the cop rocked up and the cop was fucking confused. And I stuck around too long. I must have rung the doorbell half a dozen fucking times. And fucking tried to I think I tried to call 2 or 3 times, sent a few messages, and then in the end I'm just like, oh, yeah, maybe you're not home. I knew she was home, or at least someone was home, which I assumed was her. You know, like, then the cop rocks up and then he's like, oh, who, you know, and then it turned out being BJ, he was fucking, so you got one woman, right, and then he goes and gets confused, sends me to my car, because he's like, are you sure it's Kath who's here, it's not BJ? I'm like, what? Then he fucking gets out and I get read this fucking riot act. And I'm like, what, am I getting a fucking, a restraining order? What the fuck is this? He goes, no. It's like some stalker. Now how's this? When I met BJ, her ex kept driving past the house, sending text messages saying, making reference to the cars out the front of the house, making reference to me, threatening messages, threatening me, to the point that I didn't even know if I wanted to know her. She went to the police did nothing. I fucking get my mum to send one message, I knock on the fucking door once, I sent a letter to do with the fucking trying to make her help her heal. Which if they fucking read, they would have known I wasn't trying to get it back. I needed to know that this has really fucked me up too. I get read this riot act, institutionally sanctioned violence, trying to silence me, right? Because I'm a man, I'm not allowed to have grief. Right, apparently it's a crime for me to send a fucking letter about bullshit, right? You have caused fear. You have done this. Otherwise, we're going to charge you. Yeah, let's destroy a man's career just like Rosie Bourne. I am so fucking on. I am fucking. Yeah. Oh look man, it looks so scary. Fucking I've been violated by that narcissistic psychopath Rosie Bourne. The last thing I needed was these two bitches down south doing the fucking same. Yeah, this is no better. You know what she told the police? He crashed his motorbike near my house. And I'm confused, questioning it with this cop, right? Oh, actually, first we deal with Kath. And I'm like, she's not once told me to leave her alone. For all I know, she changed her number. I didn't, or fucking didn't get my messages. I didn't know any of that, not once. You have caused fear, it's just like, hang on, I was clear in all of my communication. I wasn't Little Miss passive fucking aggressive. Little Miss, I don't know what come from BJ, what was real and what was trying to manipulate. Some of it I know was real, because she had information she couldn't otherwise, so I know Kath did contact BJ. Or maybe you'll get the message. So, how a woman tells you to fuck off is by not telling you to fuck off? Sorry, like, a woman being too much of a fucking coward, too much of a cruel fucking coward to just be clear in their communication and say, look, Mark, here's your belongings back. I don't want to know you. Like, I've got my own shit, whatever. Like, sorry, I read your letter, I can't help you. Leave me alone. Just because a woman is too much of a fucking coward, right? And then when I question it, I'm like, she's telling you now. So what? Fucking police, right? So what? Every time a woman is too much of a coward to tell a man, to give a man's belongings back, they're going to run to the fucking police. And get the police to fucking bash the man. And if the man talks about it, we'll give him a criminal record and call him a stalker. I ain't stalking these cunts, I can get fucked. Fuck up his career, So what? Silencing your victim, that is fucking abuse. That is an abusive fucking relationship. Threatening your victim with finances, threatening to destroy. So you're going to give me a criminal record so I can't be a social worker. Because a woman, instead of telling me to leave them alone, went to the fucking police. And what? Did she give them my fucking signs? Because what, she's so fucking trusted, fucking dumb cunt doctor mates. Well, I was trying to get this, because this belongs signed over into a world trust, like I've been fucking saying all along. I was very discreet, because there's environmental considerations. With what happened with the toilet paper, all of that shit. That's not stalking. Fucking, when it comes to fucking BJ, right, so they filled out this warning for fucking Kath, and then did the same took me back to the station, did the same with BJ. I was so confused with Kath. I'm like, well, she's never told me not to, absolutely cruel as fuck. I don't know what the fuck's going through her fucking head. Some of it I see, some of it's, pretty fucking challenging. If she read the fucking science, I'm not fucking crazy. I have to burn the fucking flag to get some fucking dumb cunt to read the fucking science. And Mark's being scary again. It's because I'm surrounded by 7 fucking billion fucking idiots. So that was fucking, great. Thanks a fucking bunch. Thanks a fucking bunch. And then fucking BJ, so then I go back to the station. And I'm just getting more and more confused. Like, apparently her friend saw you in her area. And I've been surfing down near where she fucking lives, because that's the only place. She doesn't own the fucking Esplanade. And I did, like I said in the letter, I fucking rode past her on the bike. I've been fucking riding to fucking Victor Harbour, and then back along the coast, fucking over 100 k's of fucking Esplanade, or, you know, sometimes, yeah, along the beaches all the way from fucking Waipinga along the coast back to fucking Glenelg. You know, yeah. Most of my trips have been recorded on Strava. I don't go near her fucking house. You know? Oh, well, yeah. I go several streets. She doesn't own the fucking Esplanade. I'm within my rights to fucking surf. You know, I'll try to learn to fucking surf before I fuck myself up. Absolute bullshit. But when I questioned it to the police, you know what she told the police? He crashed his motorbike near my place. I questioned this. Where do you surf? You know, along near fucking Port Malunga. I crashed my fucking motorbike, Old Malunga Hill Road. It's like fucking 15 kilometres from her fucking place. The police know where I crashed my motorbike because they cleaned me up off the fucking road. They also know where she lives. It's a fucking straight out lie. It's fucking nowhere near her place. The one thing that I questioned that with the police. They still enforced it. What I forgot to question with the police was how the fuck did she even know? If I'm supposedly stalking, I don't have a fucking clue what she's been doing. You know, if I'm stalking her, how the fuck does she even know where I crashed my motorbike? Huh? Please don't even question that. You know, I'm so confused going, what the fuck? And I admit it, yeah, I knocked on her fucking door. She has belongings of mine. So what, the police don't question the woman. If you're not doing it, you've got nothing to worry about. This is your warning. So what? A woman can lie and you're just going to fucking read a riot act and act on it? Institutionally sanctioned fucking violence. This is my professional fucking opinion as a social worker on these ludicrous fucking so-called, they're bullshit, absolute bullshit powers. If you're going to give executive fucking powers to police, right? That police, you should be giving them to people who have the fucking brains to actually practice some discernment and also question the women making these allegations. You know, yeah, you've got a grieving fucking woman and I'm really, yeah. You know, a woman using the police as fucking weapons and then what, you turn around, what, give me the reassurance, oh, it's okay, you have made her, what? You have made her fear. No, I fucking haven't. You know? You try and blame the man and then give you the reassurance, oh, it's okay as long as you don't do any of this stuff. And so, hang on, I didn't do any of the fucking stuff that you've given me the fucking warning for in the first place. This is absolutely insane. And you know what? In the warning, I'm not even allowed to talk about it. These laws are fucking ludicrous. You might as well line all the fucking men up in a line and cut all their fucking cocks off. I'm sick of it. As a white fucking male. White male privilege. So basically we've created a fucking culture. Yeah. Women don't have to give men their belongings back. Women don't even have to tell men, yeah, just because women are fucked in the head. And not all women are fucked in the head. But if you've got people who can't communicate, what discernment means when a policeman fucking has a woman go, he crashed his motorbike near my house, and the policeman looks on his computer and goes, actually, that was 15 kilometres away. Perhaps this woman is using the police as a fucking weapon. You know, you wonder why men fucking kill themselves. You know? The system is so geared, you know, with such a bias. You know, you think you're going to solve domestic violence by just blaming men for it. You don't blame the system. You don't blame the cultural values that, you know, where people creates these codependent, clingy fucking people who think just because what they get rejected gives them the right. Let's prove that I'm just like Rosie. You know, I'm fucking. You want to fucking do me for fucking stalking? You know, I'm being as fucking brief as I can. You know, there's a lot of personal stuff and I care about both of them fucking bitches down south. You know? Now I'm not, you know, if I really wanted to fucking throw shit about what when I fucking broke up, yeah. You know, I fucking, you know, I don't know how to cover my fucking ass with this. And I am sick to death of this type of stuff, and it's all blame violence against women, violence against women. It's fucking bullshit, absolute bullshit. And I'm not saying that violence doesn't happen against women, because it fucking does. But we have some extreme systemic flaws, and this new anti-stalking fucking legislation is absolute bullshit. In both cases, I knocked on their fucking doors once. In both cases, there were no, you know, not even once was I told to leave her alone. We can go through all the communications if we really fucking have to. All of them. And that's not where I want to go, because like I just said, I fucking care about both of them fucking bitches. You know. I care about the rest of the population. And, you know, the potential implications of this. By creating an unfair fucking system, you perpetuate things like domestic violence. Now, I'm not a fucking violent person, you know. But I can see how this type of stuff, institutionally sanctioned violence against fucking men, creating an unfair fucking system, it does contribute to suicides, definitely. Possibly contributes, you know, in some cases to actual domestic violence and tragedies and stuff like that. You know, I mean, I'm someone, I've been pushed to my fucking limits. You know, I'm a weak cunt. You can literally scream in my face how good my dad dying is and I won't fucking hurt you. You know, I've got more guilt about telling the world about what that gutless cunt has done to me than what, you know, she's ever shown. You know, like, I got to the point where I was apologising over and over again, blaming myself for that abuse. You know, I had to go through the guilt because I allowed her to convince me that I didn't know that when you lose someone that like you've been caring for, that you have like relief, and then you have the guilt, and then I had all the confusion because of the grief, which was made worse by all of her gaslighting and abuse. I don't know how to recover from it. You know, and then I've got what? So I've got, yeah, that psychopathic cunt played me off as, oh, he's obsessed with me. And then what? These two fucking idiots who instead of communicating clearly, go to the fucking cops and fucking put fucking stalking. Fucking thankfully, I don't know, I must have been with fucking well over 100 women, most of whom are actually mature fucking people who can communicate fucking clearly, who don't fucking destroy your lives when you can't, when you're not right for each other. You know. But this fucking legislation is wrong. Yeah, and I find it really interesting. Like, it's just like it's gone one extreme to the other. You know, like 2.5 years prior to that, like I said earlier, what, her ex, fucking what, messages that were threatening, messages that fucking confirmed he was driving past the fucking house, that like, you know, made reference to my vehicles and stuff like that, insinuated violence against me, and the police did fucking nothing. Yet I knock on fucking 2 separate doors fucking once, you know, after belongings that haven't been given back to me. It's absolute bullshit. They're the first questions police should ask when women have, police shouldn't even have to ask that. We need to be encouraging a culture where people actually have the courage to say fucking what they fucking think. You know, play games. Well, maybe if I just play passive aggressive and just don't reply, you'll get the message. No, it's not. That's fucking unhealthy. That is passive aggressive. It's cruel. It's fucking gutless. That's what it fucking is. You know, yeah, it can be very difficult to tell someone to go away.